right? Yeah, what you want, fam? So I was thinking we go from like a fade from a 1 to a 3 on the sides, get it parted just on both sides, and then maybe take like half off top, about this much. Do I look like a f***ing barber to you? Well, I'ma just head on out then. Nah, sit the f*** down. Alright. What if I just shaved your stupid f***ing head, you stupid c***? Yeah, probably not. And this has become a huge problem because I can't actually get a haircut properly from a barber because they're all closed. So I thought today I'd attempt to essentially try and cut it myself. So if I completely f it up, you guys are going to be the first to see it. I'm in lockdown anyway, and I'm in here for another 6 weeks and I can't actually work, so it doesn't really affect me if I f it up anyway. Now you can get any different haircutting kit. At the end of the day, they all do the same thing. This is the one I got. It's called the Braun 10-in-1 styling kit. Now this is everything that comes straight out the box. So I've got the shaver, a bunch of attachments, and of course the charging kit. Now the most important part to start off with is figuring out exactly where the part is going to go on both sides. So grab a hairbrush and make sure that your hair is wet so you can easily part it and separate the sides from the top. Now I started off on the 11mm setting, and this is the same as the 3 on the sides and the back. Now be very careful when you do this because this is going to set the foundation for the rest of the fade towards the end. Now pay attention to the motion that I'm doing as I'm shaving my hair. I start shaving in and I start to flick away as I get closer towards a part. I do this because it means there's no risk for me actually touching the top with the shaver itself. Basic 3 on this side, gonna fade it later. Now let's do the other side to make sure it's even. Now as you're setting the part for the other side, make sure that they're both even. Adding water definitely helps with this process because it means it's a lot easier to separate the top from the bottom when you're making the part. Especially if you have thick hair like mine. Check out that overgrowth. It's 4 months worth of overgrowth. Now stay consistent with that motion, making sure you keep flicking out as you get closer towards the part. So I've done a 3 on the sides now. I'm going to save the fade to the end. What I've got to do now is pretty much do the back, and how I'm going to do that is I'm going to grab my phone and use the reflection of my phone, hold it in one hand here, and then cut it just at the back here. Now see, what I do to cut the back is I separate the top from the back of the hair. Now I do that using the knobbly bone at the back of your head. Switching to the 9mm setting, and I'm going to aim for about an inch below where I went previously. So go from the bottom up to around here. Now I'll do the other side. Okay, now I'm going to go down to the 7mm. Now you can see I'm slowly progressing from 11mm down to 9, down to 7, down to 5, and then down to 3. Making sure that I go a little bit lower each time I change settings. From a 7 to a 5. Okay, now I'm going to finish up the back by going down from a 5 to a 3. Now the 3mm really helps to get rid of all those annoying bits right at the bottom towards the back. You can also use just a blade as I do towards the end, but I find it's a lot safer to use a 3mm setting, particularly if you're not going for a skin fade. I'm just after a really simple and clean look. I ended up deciding to cut a little bit off the top, and what I did was, because it was so long, I grabbed a large strand of my hair with 2 fingers, and then I grabbed a pair of scissors and then cut the little bit of excess on top just so it's even throughout the entire haircut. You got to keep in mind as well that it's never going to be perfect unless you're willing to spend 5 or 6 hours perfecting every single detail, so just settle for good enough. Now to finish off this look, what I'm going to do is I've taken all the attachments off and I'm just using the blade itself, and I'm just going to refine the edges just on the sides here and also at the back as well. Now here's the finished look, and you can see the before and after just here. If you're doing this yourself, remember it's never going to be perfect, but there's a huge difference between not getting a haircut for 3 months and cutting it yourself and getting a reasonable looking haircut. Yes, so it's all done. You can see the final look here. Pretty decent considering I'm not a barber, but this is such a sick skill to have because you can get a nice clean looking fade anywhere in the world that you go. So I just did a basic fade from a 2 up to a 3 on the sides. You can go ahead and do a skin fade if you want. I just wanted to stay basic. Also trimmed a little bit off the top just with a pair of normal scissors just because it was getting really long. Now I ended up using the Braun MGK7221, but you can use any sort of tool. They all pretty much do the exact same thing. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you stay tuned for more photography content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.